Hello everybody, I'm Happy Face, and welcome back to Tears of the Kingdom. The final part of Tears of the Kingdom, actually. As you can see, I finally went into the depths and got the first light route since, I would like to see things. And because nothing important happened, here you go, here's the auto-build tutorial. Yeah, getting to the mining facility was incredibly boring. So, Master Koga time! Now, despite what some people may think, I actually really like this fight. Yeah, it's kind of not that difficult, but I also came here way later. If you go right down to the depths at the beginning, I can see why this fight with a traveler's bow and a wooden stick would be pretty difficult. I just always thought of this fight in this game and Breath of the Wild as just one of the goofiest fights, and I think this definitely still holds it up, and I just very much enjoyed it. It was just all around a good time throughout the entire fight. And I'm pretty sure he skipped some phases here. I don't remember him having, but I don't know. I do so much damage with this weapon. Like, look at his health bar, just absolutely chunking him down. So, yeah. Come on. Oh yeah, I forgot he has a shield. Okay. Oh, but he hit something. So. Then I decided to do Mineru's Construct first, because I guess why not? I remember this being my least favorite, dungeon, when I played through the game the first time, so I decided that I was going to do this first. This took forever. I forgot how annoying the Thunderhead was. I'm going to time-lapse the entire thing for you here, just so you can see the, 15 minutes it took me to get through this. Okay, while I'm running through the Thunderhead here, and it's pretty boring, I think it's time to address some things. If you're seeing this video, that means I finished Tears of the Kingdom, which is great, but I need something else to record. So let me know, would you rather see Mario Odyssey 100%, or would you rather see Cuphead? Now, for Cuphead, I probably won't be doing all the, I'll probably just be doing all the bosses on, Expert or something like that. And whichever one I don't do, I will probably just do it in my own time. So basically I'm going to do both of them, but which one would you rather see me record, or would you want to watch both? Also, I think I'm going to be getting some newer games soon, so once those arrive, I will let you know, and I will add those to the list of things that I could play. Is it? I just found I see that going. I'm seeing it. I can't see it. I guess look in there? Okay, I don't know. Okay, that's fine. After save scumming my way all the way through the Thunderhead, I was greeted with this. Yes. That was going to be very helpful when I inevitably had to sell it to make money to buy the Flamebreaker armor to do the Goron dungeon. This was really the only cool part of the entire transporting the construct head all the way down to the entrance to the Hollow Chasm. Well, I may have forgot the fact that a wing is gonna keep flying after I jump off of it. So here I am, worried that I'm gonna have to go fetch the head off the top of the mountain, and then remember that I can recall it. And I don't know at all how this worked, but I just slowly recalled it a bunch so that it would keep going down. I don't really know how it worked, but it did. So I take that. I recalled it, and then I stopped it when it was at low to the ground, but it hadn't gone forward. I don't know. But eventually I ended up with this, and I made it into the Hollow Chasm. The next things I decided to tackle were the 4 limb depots for Mineru's Construct. So, after lowering this bridge, I tweaked it a little bit, and then I realized that I needed to put a rocket on the leg. I think this is a leg. Maybe that's an arm. I don't know. To launch it up, and then I also saw that there was a steering stick, which made me think that I'm not going to be able to get up there unless I ride it. So, after doing all of those things, I got to the top, got the chest behind the lasers, and then launched myself out of here and back to the center area. The next depot I decided to tackle was the one with the lava. So I got the 2 wheels to make a car using the arm with 2 wheels and a steering stick. Then I realized I needed to get it across the like skinnier gap, so I positioned it correctly, attached the wheels, and just did the same thing. Then once I got to the other side, I took the fans to make myself a boat, and then just floated out of there. Next, I tackled the depot where you have these wheels and an electric chain. I will, for your sanity, cut out the 5 minutes it took me to make the correct car here. But as you can see here, once I finally got my creation to work, it was incredibly slow. I doubt this is the correct way to do this. I don't know if there is like a quote-unquote correct way, but this certainly isn't the most efficient way, because I remember doing it much faster in my first playthrough. And then the second part of this is kind of cool, where you get to make it into a car, but then again, that's kind of a given for the fact that this is a, level based entirely on wheels, so you would think, you get to make a car at the end to drive it back. So the next and last depot also happens to be my least favorite. So this one you have to use these weird blocks that only appear in this one area and make a weird creation that is able to go along the bar, and because of the weird nature of the bars on the side, you have to make it from a weird angle, which is very annoying. So after about 5 minutes of tinkering, I finally got a shape that worked. In my first playthrough, I used a bunch of recall stalling and other shenanigans, which was not nearly as easy as this, but I didn't know you could do this in my first playthrough. I just didn't make sense to me. But eventually I did get it, so I'm not too sad about that. And yeah, that's all the depots. And now for the boss of the Spirit Temple, the Seized Construct. After about way too much time of running through the depths with Minoru's very slow walking, you get to an okay boss. I chose to do this dungeon first because I find Minoru to be the least helpful sage, so I kind of just wanted to get this out of the way, but I did find her more useful than in my past playthrough. So what you need to do for this guy is shoot him in the face with a cannon, and then walk up and hit him 3 to 4 times with your arm, and that should send him flying into the electric gate, which does tons of damage to him. If you need to, you can block attacks, but I rarely ever find myself needing to do that in this fight. It's not really that difficult, in my opinion. He can hit you into the electrical fences, which is pretty scary. And now for his second phase. He gains the ability to attach things to himself in this phase, but the strategy of blast him one time with a cannon, slap him a couple times with your arm still works perfectly fine here. He is a lot more dangerous, and I do think I end up taking damage somewhere during this phase. Yeah, right there. But it's still nothing that you need to really worry about. Just continue the same strategy, cook some food, don't be like me, and it shouldn't be too much of a problem. As you can see there, I missed the fence, which can be a bit of an annoyance, but it's usually fine, just because when you miss with him, he'll be very far away from you, so it's pretty easy to line up another cannon shot without him getting too close to you. Just keep up the strategy of shooting him once and hitting him a bunch of times into the electrical fence, and this fight should be pretty free. And of course, at the end, you unlock Minoru's Construct, which is just so exciting, and I'm sure we're all very happy that that is something that we got. Now, I will say the one time it is helpful is in the end of the game, which you will see soon for pulling aggro, but I'll talk about that when I get there. Next, I decided to head to the Wind Temple, because clearly Minoru's Construct was not enough excitement for me. So, for this temple, you just have to activate the 5 switches in the rooms, which I will show you how to get all of those in a second. This is probably my favorite dungeon in the game, but the first thing you're going to want to do when you get to any of the dungeons is just immediately open up your map and look for the yellow dots so you can see where the switches are. First thing you're going to want to do to get this next switch is hurl yourself off the side of the boat and into this basement area, where you have to break the ice using a weapon, and then there's this little chest in here where you can shoot down icicles on the ceiling, or just use the ones that are on the floor already, to make a long object to get in there and grab the chest. To get this first switch, all you really got to do is just put this piece of ice in between the 2 gears to get the mechanism working again. This will open up the door for you, and then you can use Tulin's ability to activate this fan. The next switch is pretty simple. You just want to put a piece of ice on this switch on the first floor, very near the start of the dungeon, and then that'll open up this door, and boom, there you go, already another switch. For the next switch, you have to open up the doors at the top and then channel your inner spy movie and fly through all of these lasers. I literally did that in like the span of 5 seconds. So, yeah, getting to the top is probably the hardest thing, but you can use the fan in the middle or the boats to get up to the top pretty easily. The next switch is an easy one, which just requires you jumping through this hole in the basement all the way to the lower basement. Then you kill this Zonai, which took literally 3 hits to kill, and that's not even a very good weapon that I'm using. And there you go, you're already at your second to last switch. The last and most complicated switch requires using a mixture of Ascend and other random map skills to get to this room, where you can attach something to that weird like rock to the bottom of that propeller, and then spin it, and then you can use recall if you're like me and lazy and you don't want to have to spin it more than one time. Kill this Zonai dude, and there you are, your last switch and ready for the boss. And now, for one of the best bosses in this game, I would say the only one better, maybe the final, is Kolgara. Now, this fight is very weird, because it is one of the only fights where you never have to use a sword. You have to stand in the sky, or I guess float, wait for him to start shooting spikes out, and then you can dive into his little snowflake and do tons of damage. Now for the next part, which I'm not sure if this is the normal way to do it or just the fast strat, but it worked for me. So you wait for him to come charging up from the bottom of the screen, and then you go towards his face so you're seeing his underside, and then just shoot the other things with arrows. It should be 2 to break each ice, and then 1 to break the snowflake. So 3 arrows per thing, and then you just do this one more time in the second phase, and this fight should not give you too much trouble. Now, I was stupid and did not bring any cold resist food for the entirety of this dungeon. I had, I think, 1, and it ran out by this point. So, don't be like me and bring cold resist food. You'll see throughout this entire fight that I'm just taking tons and tons of damage. But yeah, the second phase, he definitely has more scary attacks, like these tornadoes. But it really shouldn't be too much of a problem for you, as long as you just keep the same strategy with, a bit more care in mind. He's below me. We just don't worry about it. Parachute. And 1, 2, 3. And there you go, Wind Temple done with absolutely no problems. Next dungeon I'm going for was the Water Temple. Now, I cut out the whole getting the Zora armor thing, because let's be real, it wasn't that interesting. And while I'm running through this kind of mini dungeon and the way up to the dungeon, I thought now would be a decent time to talk about some stuff. So, earlier in the video, you heard me ask you guys, between a very small amount of options, what to play next. And I'm still going to ask you that. However, that was a while ago, and some small things have changed since then. So I'm going to let you guys know the new option for what my next series will be. Alright, so here are your new options. Number 1 is the Super Mario RPG, the remake for the Nintendo Switch. This will be in the old editing format that I used for the Dark Souls 3 challenge, because I just think for a first-time playthrough, that would be a better format. The next option is a Cuphead challenge run, because I've played the game normally way too many times now, so I think a challenge run on that could be fun. Next, we would have Link's Awakening for the Switch, which would also be a first playthrough, so that would be in the, I guess, older editing style, rather than the more edited style. And then any other challenge runs for, like, Dark Souls 3 or any other games that I've played so far, just let me know, because those could always be fun to do as well. Also, if you have any games that I've probably never heard of before that are Souls-like or in the kind of genres of games that are similar to that, please let me know, because I'm always open to trying new games. And also, let me know if you'd like to see a Tears of the Kingdom boss ranking after I have finished the series. Alright, now that I'm done yapping, we can get onto the Water Temple. Now, this dungeon, I feel like I always remember as being the easiest, and you'll see why in a second. After riding up a bubble for a painfully long amount of time, I got up to here where I saw that I needed to make an electrical current. So the first thing I did was grab this bubble to put it in the in-between spot to make the electrical current, because I had played the game before and realized that you needed to do that. I had to Google this on my first playthrough, so I'm glad that I figured it out. Because I was like, I don't know if a random... I didn't think of them as being able to conduct electricity, but then again, water was really good at conducting electricity, so that's probably me being dumb. Next, I made the water wheel thing to get the electricity flowing, and already I had hit my first switch. Next up, we probably have my favorite switch in this temple, where you see this really fast spinning thing, and you have to use bullet time in order to be able to shoot an arrow in there. And then, surprise, surprise, after you shoot your first arrow, guess what you get to do? That's right, shoot a second arrow. Now, the first, you can't tell that you have to do that, because the first arrow, you get rid of the sludge. Then the second arrow, you can finally hit the switch. And it's a pretty easy switch, but it was one that took me a really long time on my first playthrough, but felt really good when I was able to do it. This switch is something else. Instead of commentating it and showing you the footage, I'm just going to show you the footage because I don't even know how to get this switch. Yeah. In my first playthrough, I didn't know how to get it. In this playthrough, I didn't know how to get it. But now that I have rewatched this footage, I have noticed that, it took me way too long to notice this, but this bubble launcher right here is, I'm guessing, the secret to this switch, because this makes it way easier. So I'm guessing this is the quote-unquote intended way to do it. But I didn't know, so, yeah. That's just me being dumb, I guess. But thankfully, after that, it was a pretty easy switch to get. And now we're on to the last one. Here's another switch that I'm 99% sure I'm doing the wrong way. You might be wondering, what is this thing that I'm ultra-handing with me? Yeah, those blocks from the last switch, I carried all the way over here. Now, there's blocks inside, which I'm guessing you're supposed to ultra-hand through the fire, but I've never done that. I've always brought them from the other one, which, yes, is very unnecessary, and, frankly, I don't know how I noticed that there was blocks in here for the first time on my, second or third playthrough, so. Then once I got the ball across, I did, I guess what you would call some shenanigans here to get to the top, where I ultra-handed this block up, ascended through it, and then just climbed up the wall. Then I grabbed the ball with Ultra Hand, and I saw that I needed to use one of these little gravity machines to keep it inside of the hole, so I could have the door stay open. Otherwise, if I just put it in the hole, then the door would open for a second and then immediately close. So I grabbed one of the floaty blocks, put the ball on the bottom, turned it the right way, and there we go. The final switch. Now we are on to the boss of the Water Temple. Before anyone says anything, yes, I know I did this boss very incorrectly, and it was kind of sad, honestly. Directly after this recording, I remembered how to properly fight this boss, and I felt a little bit ashamed of myself that it took me forever to do this. Now, this fight normally isn't that bad. You just get Sidon's ability to charge your weapon with water, go up to the shark, slap it with your water weapon, and then you can go around and attack the Muktarok. It's the second phase where I started to get a little slipped up, and you'll see why when we get there. First things first, though, this boss is kind of lame. Now, it doesn't really have that many, direct attacks in the first phase. It kind of just, at least how I fought it, it was really easy. At least until the second phase, which was mostly just me being dumb rather than the fight actually being difficult. So, really, what all this fight is just waiting for Sidon's ability to be ready and then hitting him in the face. Now, as you can see there, I was an idiot and got hit, so now we can see this one attack where he shoots mud, and, that's about it. That's pretty much all he does in the first phase. Now we're on to the second phase, which, as you can already see, is much more annoying because he put muck all over the floor. So, this phase, for some reason, gave me way more trouble than it should have. This is normally not bad at all. Now, as you can see, he has a new attack where he makes a shockwave. And it's really annoying because it got rid of my Sidon ability, and I had to wait. So I'm going to cut that out for you, and here we go. Now we're on to where I finally attacked him. And this is where it gets worse. Now, what I believe you're supposed to do here is go into bullet time so that it's easier to hit him. What I did was, well, you can see what I'm doing here is not really anything. So this was just way too difficult for me. There was no reason I had to struggle this much with this fight, but I did. So I'm just going to let the footage play, and you can watch me be an idiot running around trying to chase this guy. Get some damage in. I just use splash freeze. Yeah. No! Sidon. I just need to use splash fruits. I'm wasting all of my splash fruits. Ugh. Okay, I broke my blade. I'm just, you know what? Screw you. But this is a sword. I thought this was a spear. Man, I have to do everything with myself right here. I'm really gonna have to do a whole nother cycle of this trash. Not my best moment, but hey, at least the boss is out of the way. Next on my list, the Lightning Temple. Now, after breaking into the Gerudo town, which really wasn't that interesting, they asked me to help them fight Gibdos, which, okay. This fight against the Gibdos really is not that bad. Now, I did learn something very good about these, like, Gibdo hives. When they light up a specific color, they turn from, like, pink to purple, then you can shoot them with the lightning arrows. Speaking of lightning arrows, we have Riju, whose ability works by this giant yellow circle that's expanding. You can shoot an arrow somewhere in the circle, and then it will strike that area with lightning, which is pretty cool. Now, you're going to need that because Gibdo only take damage from elemental attacks. And then, right after that mission, well, there wasn't really anything interesting that happened up until the next Gibdo fight. Oh, yay, yippee, I'm so excited. So, yeah, we get to fight more Gibdos. So, that's pretty much all the lead up to this temple is, other than the really annoying things and boring things that I cut out. So, basically, it's just the same thing as last time, except there's 3 Gibdo hives instead of 1. And it's basically like a defense mission. You have to make sure that the Riju doesn't die to the Gibdos. So my strategy for this is to just destroy the hives as fast as possible. So you destroy one hive, then you go back, make sure you kill all the Gibdos near Riju, then you go to the next hive, kill all the Gibdos, go back to Riju, and then you go to the next hive, kill all the Gibdos, go back to Riju. So basically just in between every hive, go back to Riju. Now the game's gonna like tell you, Riju is under attack, blah blah blah, and check your mini-map because the red dots are the Gibdos, so you will be able to see, okay, there's, 4 Gibdos there. I don't know if they can protect that, because the soldiers will, like, actually help you in the fight. But if you don't think they can, kill, like, 3 Gibdos or whatever, then you can run back, but otherwise, just keep fighting. It's really not that difficult. I really don't know how that arrow didn't hit there. So, just keep running between the hives. This one, I feel like, spawns the most. I don't know if that's just me just imagining things or what. But, as you can see here, I just left the Gibdos. It's really not that important. The flying ones are really annoying. Make sure that if you see a Gibdo that's just, like, going over all the walls, that will actually be a problem, because I don't think the soldiers are as good at defending them. But really, even then, just try to brute force it as fast as possible. The faster you take out the Gibdo hives, the less Gibdos will spawn. And then once all the hives are done, you just have to kill all the remaining Gibdos. So, hopefully, this strategy will help you. And, because if you don't, this can be a really difficult minigame, but this strategy seems to work pretty well, because they only told me that Riju was under attack once I had already destroyed all the hives, and there was just, like, a few Gibdos left. Now, welcome to my favorite dungeon, the Lightning Temple. Now, I always felt that the dungeons in this game could be a little bit lacking in some ways, but this dungeon is just amazing. First things first, the easiest switch, but also, on my first playthrough, the hardest switch. Now, you just have to move these two little blocks of rubble, but I just could not, for the life of me, figure out. I thought I had to, like, drop down from another level. No, you just move 2 pieces of rubble. It's that easy. The next switch requires some mirror shenanigans, and rather than showing you the exact solution to the mirrors, I think this is a puzzle that is better for you to solve it yourself. So if you have never played this game before, first of all, I highly recommend you play it. It's a fantastic game. Second of all, I'm not going to show you how to do this one because it's just trial and error and it's really fun. So after that, you get to drop down this massive chasm and boom, you're already at another switch. This is the only switch in this temple that I don't absolutely love. It's just way too many things to be put together. First, you have to make this contraption of a hot air balloon, a little plank, and a mirror in order to get this light onto a switch. Now, I think that's a really cool concept, and I think it could have been really fun if there wasn't so many things. You have to make sure that the mirror is getting enough light from the ground so that it's able to produce light, because the mirrors alone can't produce light. Then you have to make sure that the hot air balloon is not too close to a torch. Then you have to also make sure that you're close enough to a torch so you can run to it and it not be absolutely boring. Then you also have to make sure that the balloon is in the exact right spot so that it floats up and the mirror is in the right place. But if they had just taken one of those away, I think it could have been a really good switch, but still, it's pretty fun. After more mirror shenanigans, I want you to be able to experience for yourself. You get into this like collapsing wall, I guess not collapsing, like crushing wall room, where you can make kind of whatever contraption you want out of these stones to make sure that the wall doesn't try to trap you. I tried to big brain this and have a little hole that I thought Riju would be able to walk through, but I just don't think her AI lets her. It's really not too bad, though. So once you get through, you can press the switch to turn off the machine so that Riju can get there. Then, after some more mirror magic, you can get the last switch. Now we are on to, by far, my least favorite boss in this game. I know, it's at the end of my favorite dungeon, and it's kind of sad. But I absolutely hate this boss. It makes my blood boil thinking about having to fight this thing. So I'm going to show you the winning attempt, and then you'll get to see the wonderful death compilation, which was comprised of like 25 minutes of gameplay. Here we are. I am traumatized after having to rewatch all of this footage of this boss fight. So anyways, Queen Gibdo is, in my opinion, the most garbage boss of all time. I mean, look at that damage from a laser beam that is just so annoying to dodge. Now, I know a lot of this could have been prevented if I had prepared more food. Now, I thought about that, but after, like, I had gotten so close, I was just like, I feel like for my self-esteem purposes, I need to do this with only the one piece of food that I had on me. This fight was just, like, absolutely miserable for me. I mean, I'm glad I did it, but I don't ever want to do it again. So, his attacks are this, he's got a charge, a laser beam, a really annoying, ground slam that I do not know how to dodge. He has tornadoes, just all of these really annoying attacks. And one of the most annoying things is, like all the other Gibdos, you have to, how do you even dodge that? Like, I don't even begin to know how to dodge that. One of the things that is annoying about this, which is also annoying about all other Gibdos, is you pretty much have to use Riju for this one. So that is really annoying, and Riju's AI is absolutely terrible, and if she gets hit by a tornado, then it cancels the attack. And then, yes, you're seeing this correctly, in second phase, she spawns 4 Gibdo hives to continuously spawn Gibdos throughout the entire fight. What were they thinking? This is just... oh my god. Now, my advice is to get rid of these because they do provide light, which does kill the Gibdo, or takes away the Gibdo's, shell, which is really nice. I don't think it takes away the Queen's shell. But anyways, after this lovely fun times, you're going to want to hurry up and destroy all of the hives because it's pretty much necessary. Then after you shoot the Gibdo Queen, as you can see here, she does this, weird flying pattern, and, it's just so annoying. You don't know where she's going to land. So you pretty much have to hit her with 2 attacks in a row. Also, there are multiple of these where I just eat literally every single health recovery item in my inventory. So I probably wouldn't even be able to make very much food because I just downed everything I had on me just to make sure that I would not die to her damage because it is so irritating. But you just have to keep going. You'll see in the death compilation later, but look at that. Look at that. Look at that. It makes me so mad. I charge up the ability, right? I get in range, and then Riju gets hit by a tornado and I can't do anything. And then finally, once you get the Gibdo down, she, doesn't even take that much damage. She just has so much health, and it's not like I'm using good weapons here. So yeah, if you can tell, this is just me ranting about how much I hate this boss. I will say the one good thing is that it does feel like a decent challenge, and I do like that. I do like challenging bosses, but I just fights like this where I feel like some of the attacks are almost unavoidable is just way too annoying for me. And then here we have a lovely display of this awesome laser attack, which just like does, half of my health bar or over half my health bar in like a single hit. But yeah, if you can't tell, I really dislike this fight. And I'm not saying it's a bad boss. I think with some more food and maybe with some better strategy, I think this fight could be fine. But I just, I don't know. I just have trouble enjoying this boss fight when it's just so irritating. Um, and in my first playthrough, I had the exact same experience. Like some playthroughs, I really like a boss, and then the next playthrough, I really dislike the boss because, I played a different build or whatever. In this, I just feel like this is just a really... But eventually, I finally came out on top, and, yeah. I don't think you're ready for this death compilation. First of all, I'm going to give you a volume warning, and I'm going to apologize in advance. I do not normally get this angry, but I just hate this boss so much. And some deaths have been removed for your watching pleasure because I went back through them and I was like, no, I don't think anyone, not even me, I don't even want to watch this. This is just not great. So, yeah, here's my reaction to finally beating this boss. Thank God that's over. 26 minutes! Actually, closer to 27. Here you go, the quote-unquote highlights of those 26 minutes. Insta-kill! That is balanced gameplay right there, my friends. Absolutely. Oh my gosh, I'm about to lose it, man. Oh my god, I'm gonna lose it! I literally could not have done anything differently in that situation. I did not know what he was doing because I cannot tell because he takes up the entire screen. Yeah, that attempt wasn't ever gonna happen anyways. Oh my god. Nothing I literally could do. He did not, I couldn't run from that in time. I'm gonna lose it, bro. It's been 11 minutes, and I've been on the same boss the entire time. Oh, cool! I'm dead! No way. Like a scared little child. Oh! I'm dead. This needs to be deleted. Up next, I took on the Fire Temple, but first, Maria. Now, this boss was a nice breath of fresh air after, just doing Queen Gibdo, where this fight is really not that bad. You ride on this machine, and you have to aim Yunobo at these massive rock head thingies. It's really not that difficult of a fight. I did not steer this thing very well, and I didn't really know. I had to figure out how Yunobo worked, because speaking of Yunobo, his charge attack is pretty cool. I like how fast the recharge time is, so that's pretty nice. But I could just not do it correctly. It was pretty tough for me to aim Yunobo properly, but after a little bit I got more used to it, and it wasn't too bad of a boss fight. Okay, so as you can see, this is an extreme time lapse of the Fire Temple, and the reason for this is because I did this dungeon, I think, the weirdest possible way that you can do this dungeon. I did not follow the minecarts, I just climbed up the walls. So, I don't think my strategy is very good or what the game wants you to do, so that's why I'm just hyper-speeding this up, and besides, I don't really know how I would explain this and show this in a video without showing you the entire dungeon, because I just did this in such a complicated way. So here you go, the entirety of the Fire Temple and all of its really weird glory. Okay, there you go. That was something. Now for the boss, Marbled Goma. This, I don't know if I would say, I think it's my favorite of the dungeon bosses in this game. It's a really fun fight. So you got to use Yunobo's charge ability, which honestly is I think my favorite ability, just because it has the shortest cooldown, to hit two of Marble Goma's legs, and then you're able to run up onto it and attack its eye over and over again. Now he'll have a couple of attacks where it'll throw some like rocks at you, and if you stay on top of it for too long when you're attacking it, it'll like throw you off. But really, it doesn't have too many crazy things in this first phase. It's the second phase where this fight starts to get pretty crazy. Don't do what I just did there, where you shoot Yunobo, and the legs aren't, like, all of his legs aren't back yet, because they will just not take damage for some reason. So just rinse and repeat this strategy for a little bit, until satisfied. Also, yes, Yunobo can go flying all the way around the room, and sometimes he will hit the legs after doing an entire loop of the room. That didn't happen here, but yeah, rinse and repeat, and you should be good. Okay, now we're on to the second phase, where Marbled Goma is on the ceiling, so now the Yunobo flying up might actually be part of, pretty useful. Now, he will now throw much bigger rocks at you, and can surround your entire character in rocks, which you can either destroy with Yunobo, or just climb over them like I do. You have to send Yunobo all the way flying around to knock down Goma, but now you only have to hit one of his legs instead of multiple, so it's pretty easy. In my first playthrough, struggled with it a lot, but in the second playthrough, I didn't, so I think it just takes practice, and yeah, it takes like 2 to 3 cycles per phase, and it really should not give you too much trouble. Again, any death here is really just me being dumb and not cooking food, so that's kind of my fault. But yeah, it really isn't too bad. I believe he starts walking now, which is really irritating. Uh-oh. I hit him? What? That was just kind of a shot in the dark. Alright, one more and I got him. Dude, what is happening? Let's do this, Yunobo. This guy is toast. Oh! Come on, buddy, come on, do better than that. I'm just gonna tank it. I'm still surprised I hit some of those Yunobo shots. Those are not easy to hit. At least they weren't in my first playthrough. Maybe I got better at the game or something, I don't know. And would you look at that, already onto Hyrule Castle. So here we have all the bajillion different monster forces. First one is Bokoblins, which I think is a pretty fun one. And somehow I took more damage here than I did during a decent amount of the boss fights, which is kind of funny. But This is just overall something I really enjoyed because I felt like I kind of miss out on some of the overworld stuff when I just kind of I like at this point I just wanted to beat the game so I could get this video out, and I feel like I kind of missed out on some of the overworld stuff that I really enjoyed in my first playthrough. So I feel like this kind of makes up for some of the enemies that I may not have fought, some of the like the little mini dungeons or caves I didn't do. So all of these I would say are definitely worth doing, even if you don't really like care too much about the drops. I think it's just kind of like a little fun thing to do before the end of the game. Now, as you'll see later, the part after this, I would say, is not 100% worth doing. I kind of just ran through it, but yeah. I feel like every Zelda game has this, like, thing near the end where they have this, like, really over-exaggerated monster battle that, like, takes forever and is always, like, not the most looked forward to part of the game. But I feel like this Monster Forces thing, I mean, it's not even required, and I think it's just a pretty fun thing to do just right before the end of the game. Speaking of end of the game, pretty much here we are. Now, may not be the final boss, but it's probably, I don't know. I feel like this might be even harder than the final boss just because of the fact that there's 5 Phantom Ganons. Why did they have to make there be so many Phantom Ganons? Like, I mean, it just seems like a lot. So I'm just gonna kind of put this fight aside, and I'm gonna save all the praise and stuff for the final boss, since these two fights are pretty much the same, just the final boss is way better. Now, with all the praise I gave the Monster Forces, you think I like the Demon King's army, right? Well, sort of. I think this is what I meant. Well, this is what I meant when I said earlier by a very over-exaggerated enemy battle right at the end of the game. There is no right for there to be this many enemies at the end. I understand that they're trying to make it like, more intense and whatever. But if you've just done the monster forces before this is honestly just kind of boring. I see this mostly as wearing you down for the final fight. Now, I can understand why it's here. If you skipped some of the earlier things, like they kind of had to have this. So I feel like if you skipped the Monster Forces of Hyrule Castle, it could be better. But I don't know. I will say the one thing I do like is that you can pick up the weapons from all of the enemies here, and you can use those against the final boss, which is pretty cool. Being able to, like I was really running low on weapons by this point, but this made me have a lot more weapons and be able to handle the final boss much easier. So, not all bad. I would just say they could have toned down a little bit because the amount of enemies in here is almost like just ridiculous. Here we are, the final boss. Now, technically there's another fight after this, but let's be real. Those of you who've played this game know that barely even counts as a boss. So, where to even start with this absolutely amazing boss? If you haven't noticed yet, this is my favorite boss in this game. I think it's absolutely amazing. It almost feels like a Dark Souls boss, which is honestly a huge compliment, because I love those bosses. So, he'll switch between a spear, a club, and a sword, and he has a variety of different attacks, and the main thing you want to do is just flurry rush everything. Now, as you'll see there, he does gloom damage and not actual damage, which was a bit weird to me, and then I realized that it's done definitely on purpose because, like, let's be real, getting some Sundelions to make a gloom food is much more difficult than, some apples and meat for, like, a regular good food, or, like, the hearty stuff. It's much easier, at least for me, I found, to get like prime meat and radishes rather than Sundelions. So I can definitely see why they did that now. He'll switch between all of these attacks differently. We haven't seen him use the club yet, but I think he does do it in the first phase. The spear is mostly thrusting attacks with a few others mixed in. All of them have their, like, kind of charge attack that puts gloom on the floor, which is kind of irritating. Yeah, here we go. We finally get the club. And then, well, his second phase, this is awesome. Just loading into this and seeing his health bar being twice the size is amazing. Then you're suddenly overcome by a sense of fear as you see a bunch of little clones behind him marching towards you. Then, thankfully, all of your friends are able to show up and help you. This phase I do not find too bad because it's pretty much the first phase as long as you have most of the sages, so it's really not too bad. There's only 5 Ganons, including this one, so if you have all 5 sages, you actually have one helping you, because one on each clone, and then one on the main one with you. So it is not too bad, but the third phase, this is where the fight gets pretty spicy. Alright, this is the real bread and butter of this fight. As you saw there, yes, he dodges your flurry rushes. So now you have to be much better at this because he's not going to be very forgiving. Also, he has these new attacks, which whenever he switches weapons, he'll do a fancy attack at the beginning, and if you get hit by that, you will take, like, permanent max health damage for the rest of the fight. Like, you will not get those hearts back. So, yeah, as you see there, he literally deleted a heart container from me. So, I believe you do get them back for the next fight, but I'm not totally sure on that. This is just so cool to me. So, what you have to do is you have to attack him, and then during him flurry rushing you right here, then he's gonna come back and do an attack, and if you dodge that, then you can start doing damage. So you have to attack him, he's gonna flurry rush you, then he's gonna attack you, then you have to flurry rush that attack, and then you can attack him. It is very, very ridiculous, and I did not understand it at all in my first playthrough. I still don't fully understand the mechanics of it, but I do a little bit better. Now, what you want to do in this third phase really is just play safe, because he is going to try to just absolutely ruin you, and he will. So, obviously you don't have your allies with you anymore, so it's going to be much harder, and sometimes, see, this is why I don't understand, because sometimes I just got, like, a random hit in there. I don't even know what I did differently. Even though I don't really know how I hit him sometimes, I'm glad that I do, because, man, this fight is really difficult, and without some of those random hits, it might be almost too difficult. So, here you go. The rest of the just amazing battle against the Demon King. Hit. Yes, dude. Okay, come on. 2 more. This one's the worst. I hate this one. Honestly, I'll just take that. Like, genuinely, I'll just take that. Flurry! Okay. Another heart another heart down the drain. Like, bruh. Flurry me. Thank you. Is that a win? I don't think that's a win. I think I'm gonna be incredibly close, but not quite there. Oh, Bo sucks, too. Okay, if I hit this, I win. Not good! Club is fine. I can handle club. You know what? Yes! Although fun, that fight is very stressful. And now we're on to, well, more of a cutscene than a boss fight. And here we are, the Demon Dragon. This boss may look really cool and seem really cool, but, well, I mean, I'm barely even playing the game here. You just wait for this dragon, also known as Zelda, to get above the Demon Dragon, and then you just paraglide on top of him and destroy his eyeball things. It's really, really easy, and it's kind of like Dark Beast Ganon from Breath of the Wild, where it's really just more of like a cinematic, and trying to be like, you know, a cool end to the game rather than like an actual boss fight. I gotta go land on his big noggin. Come on, Zelda, let's do this. I may have to fly a bit too far for this. Okay. Although not the best boss fight, I can't deny that that is a pretty cool ending to the game. So I will say, good job, Tears of the Kingdom. You done good. And now for the last button input of the game, holding down the A button. I kind of wish that the last attack on the dragon had been the final input, but I can't deny that that scene is pretty cool. So with that, thank you everybody so much for watching. I hope this video made your day a little better. If it did, feel free to like and subscribe. It helps me a lot, and I'll see you guys next time.